welcome back after some technical difficulties getting the server going, but we're here starting off Season 7 in GT3. This is the EU split, top split. These are the fastest drivers in the EU. This season with ACRL, we've implemented a pre-qualification system where these drivers have all week to put down their best laps 24/7. The servers are online. And that sorts the splits. It's with the hopes that it's going to make for much closer racing throughout the year. And if attendance fluctuates towards the end, this season is expected to run into June. This is going to deal with people coming and going as the season goes on. We'll always have full servers, always full racing. And this is the start of it. Here at Imola, GT3, we have some familiar faces and some new ones from last season. And we see the drivers. We're in the middle of qualifying right now, 20 more minutes. Right now we see Roble at the top, the 143.7. And we have some familiar faces here. We move down with Pisani. Anyone that followed last season knows he was the winner, the driver's winner of the Pro-Am series. Absolutely came out of nowhere, quite frankly. He just started driving like a madman. So it's going to be interesting to see how he holds his own now, racing with a lot of guys from last season's Pro Series. But according to the pre-quali times, he looks like he's pretty quick. So he doesn't appear to be tapering off at all. So we'll see how that goes with him. We'll be keeping a close eye on his race. And going back to the pre-qualification times, which are not completely indicative of what kind of pace we should see here, but we see Thomas Totella, who, if I remember correctly, won both the GTE series last season in the prototype car, but also EU Pro, the top split. So this is a driver that is completely capable of putting down some serious lap times. He had, I believe, the number one time in pre-quali, hovering down in the 42s, I think, per lap. And as we see him head into the pits, maybe changing some things around, new tires. But going down the list from last season, some notables that appear to have come up from the Pro-Am series. We see Diggy Dog Fufu in the 650S. He was a Pro-Am driver last season. He was easily top 5. Pretty consistent guy. We saw him towards the end of the season at Majura Valley and also at Monza. Another driver completely capable of running with these guys, so it's good to see him making it up here. We have Sake Lepo, who I believe was in Pro-Am last year. If he wasn't, I apologize. And he is driving the new car for the season, the 911. So it'll be interesting to see how he handles that, because it is not an easy car to drive. It's tough to get right, very dependent on setups, but this is another guy. And if you weren't in Pro-Am, I'm sorry, I thought you were. But pretty quick, making room for Rune there. Going further, Oscar Pink was also a Pro-Am driver last season, coming from the Redline Racing League. A lot of their guys joined ACRL late this season. All competent drivers in his own. We saw him in a fun battle at Nordschleife in the GT2 car. And it seems like he's staying in the Ferrari wheelhouse here, driving the 488. So it'll be, again, good to see a lot of these guys from Pro-Am putting in times fast enough to make the top split. And this is going to make this first race even more interesting because, you know, a lot of the pro guys are used to driving with one another. They kind of know what each other like to do, what they don't like to do. And it'll be interesting to see how they handle some Pro-Am guys that, or I should say former Pro-Am guys, that they're not used to driving with. They don't know their habits. So it'll be interesting to see, especially I would assume in the early on part of the race, how everyone drives. Hopefully we keep it nice and clean, as this is the top split in all of ACRL. And we talked about this on a new face here that I don't recognize, Kim Erickson. I'm not sure if he's been in ACRL before. Good to see him in the top split. Always happy with new faces. Sylvain Villette, I know this is Megadeth, driving under his real name this season. Santi Lorette, McSalton's Racing. Quite a few of these guys. This is, I think Laszlo. Is he in McSalton's Racing? I don't believe so. However, I know Albert is. However, oh, there he is. Albert Sultan. McSalton's Racing. Coming out of the pits right now, another very fast driver. We'll see how he handles it today with this grid. This is, it's also important to note, this is a much larger grid than a lot of these pro guys are used to. As last season, towards the end, we were down below 20 drivers for each race. So you can bet that they're excited to see pushing 30 guys on the server right now in this race. It's going to make it a lot of fun, very competitive. And we have 15 minutes until quali is done, and we're going to be on the grid. Going further down the list of guys that used to be Pro-Am. Team ASD. I think he was always pro. I'm pretty sure he was. Adder, we know. One of the moderators at ACRL. Another former Pro-Am driver. Up racing with the big boys now in the 488. I don't see his teammate Waddy in this split. But what that means is that these guys, even though they're not racing in the same split, they're still earning points towards the overall championship and the overall team championship. The points are just mitigated per split. Obviously, if you make the top split, you got a fast enough time, you're gonna receive more points than the other servers just because of the strength of field. So just making this top split is, you know, a goal in and of itself. Not just for pride, but also for points. So again, we're going to see how he handles it. Currently sitting at 21 right now, but looking up the list, I'm sure he's not too upset about that. And we have Knock. This is an interesting driver because we're not really sure if this is him or his girlfriend driving today. I think for their team's sake, they hope that it's his girlfriend because she is probably faster than he is. But again, another Pro-Am driver. See, he has the Sundance Award on the front of his hood. He was voted by his peers as having the best video content in ACRL. Driving the very, very nice United We Are livery. And I think he is the only one from his team up in this split. And it's also important to note, looking at our pit correspondent Wayne Kerr, to mention that just because these drivers are in this top split for this race, it doesn't necessarily mean that they'll be in top split for the rest of the season. We have pre-quality before every race, so they have to consistently perform well, or else you run the risk of dropping down into a lower split, and another guy that's been putting in work in pre-quality, he's going to come up. So it keeps it competitive, not only on race day, but also throughout the week. Everyone's keeping a close eye on those pre-quality times if they're on the border of between servers. So it'll be interesting to see as the league goes on. You know, some of these guys that are towards the bottom right now, will they be able to hold on and remain in this split, or are they going to drop down into the second one? And we see Tomas at the very top here. That's not Tomas. Oh, it is. Tomas with a 42.8. Currently sitting at pole. We know that he is capable of putting down some blistering times, so that's what we're starting to see here. And this is interesting. We see Renz sitting with a 43.6 coming into the pits, but he's running mediums in qualifying. As is Rune, his teammate Nassau Racing, both running in mediums, opting out of softs, probably just running their race trim, and both sitting in the top 10. Also in third place between the Cynic and Cade, separated by 9/1000ths of a second. And this is kind of, you know, what we expected to see with all these drivers being so close in pace. There really isn't any weak points in the grid, unless you count Petrol down here with a 154.2, one of the moderators here, in his Nassau Racing Victoria's Secret livery. He's got 9 minutes to try to put something down here and get back up in the grid. He pre-qualified pretty high, so we know he's capable of it. Making way for drivers on their hot laps. We have someone off the grid, or off the track, right? Another driver off the track. It's a little bit of chaos. I'm sure Petrol's looking in his rear view and not liking what he sees, as there's a line of about 3 cars behind him. So we'll see if he gets over and lets them through. And it looks like he is. Well, one anyway. Another driver I just noticed coming from Redline Racing League and also from Pro-Am, Luca Babetta. Currently at 22. I believe he's teammates with Oscar Pink. It looks like they're running a similar livery. So again, it'll be good to see how these guys keep up. But not much movement inside the top 10, it looks like, as far as times go. And with 7 minutes left, I'm wondering if we're seeing about how the grid's going to shake out. Let's check back in with Petrol on a hot lap here. Let's see what he can do. One of the drivers wisely making room. It is a very nice livery that livery that Moon made for Victoria's Secret and all. Oh, he slides a little bit. And we'll see what. Oh, Petrol doesn't put in a flying lap and instead goes to the pits. So I'm not sure what exactly is going on there. It looks like he's going to try to rush back out for another hot lap, but he's quickly running out of time here for one of the faster drivers in the grid. Not quite sure what the issue was there. He drove into the pits, reset, and immediately drove out, so I don't think he made any changes. I can only think that maybe he ran wide of the track limits and it might have invalidated his lap and gave him a drive-through. I'm not sure if that's live in the app or not yet, but whatever it is, he's in danger of starting at the very back of the grid. He has probably, in all likelihood, one, maybe two chances. And at the top, we see Cade jumping ahead of Rami. So breaking up that little battle with the Cynic we saw. But then turning our eyes towards Albert Sultan and Renz, who's in the pits, coming back out for probably one more flying lap. Separated by 5/1000ths of a second. So, I mean, it really doesn't get much closer than what we're seeing in this qualifying session here. And looking right down the list, Laszlo, we see Pisani jumping up in the 10th place. He was sitting down in the late teens, I believe. So again, a really interesting story here. The guy that won Pro-Am last season came out of nowhere, was running just as fast as the pro guys. Currently in the top 10 for qualifying. And I'm not sure if he's going to come back out and try another lap with 4 minutes left. I suspect if he doesn't move soon, we can consider that his lap at a 43.8, which is a very respectable time. And Petrol on his flying lap here. Can he put one down? That's the question we're all here to see. And Wayne Kerr, our pit correspondent, with another good point. And this point really applies to Petrol, that his tires might not be quite optimal on this lap. Maybe on the next one. Maybe on the next one. Although Petrol is running mediums as well. Opting out of softs. But as far, again, as the top 10 goes, it looks pretty solidified. Outside of that, we see Oscar Pink dropping down in the 14th. He was up, I think, at 11 or 12. Room getting pushed down in the 12th. He was sitting 10. Luca was 22nd. He's down to 26th. Adder 23rd. I think that was Monolith that jumped some of those guys down. He was also, I think, struggling to put in a pretty decent flying lap. But we'll see what Petrol did now. 2 minutes left. He does have time for one more. Ooh, very close to running wide. Holds it together. And let's see where this puts him. 144.5. That puts him in 26, knocking Luca down in the 27 now. But this will be Petro's last lap, I think. Unless he really turns the jets on somehow, but I think he's going to cross just after the clock ticks 0. But I think it's safe to say that our provisional pole right now, but Tomas, I think he's going to get the pole. The closest guy behind him is Cade. He's still pretty close, about 3/10 off. A little less. And Rami not far behind, so while Tomas is very quick with that sub 43 time, he's by no means untouchable. These guys, you know, their race pace, I think, is going to really be determining how this is going to go. I think if Tomas gets way out ahead in the beginning, that it's going to be tough to catch him. But if Cade, Rami, the Cynic, even Albert and Renz, if they can all kind of hang and keep him, you know, within striking distance, it could be an interesting race at the top. And we all too often saw some of these GT3 races last year where the leader just pretty much got off to a good start, was way out ahead by, you know, halfway through the first lap, and then that was it. There's not much more to say. Tomas coming across the line with a 42.4. If there was any question about it before, there isn't now. He just put the dagger in the field with that time. So congrats to Tomas for winning pole in this race. Petro back into pits. And it's interesting to see these guys at the very bottom here running mediums outside of Rune and Renz. Renz at 6th. Coming across now, he's heading into the pits. Lap must not have been anything worth finishing. And I think with that, no, we have Cade. Oh, Cade, still with a chance to maybe strike at Tomas. He might have crossed in time. Seems like it would have been awfully close. It'll be interesting to see if he takes this all the way here, or if the qualifying session ends. And we fade to black. He will not finish it. Now we're in a 40-second countdown before we're on the grid. Should be a very interesting race. Hopefully we can all keep it nice and civil in the early goings. And we are now on the grid. So now, going through, we have our pole winner, Tomas, very top. In second, Cade. Third, Rami Matilla, the Cynic. Roble in fifth. Albert Sultan in sixth. Ren sitting seventh. Laszlo Gall at eight. Tommy Maninen. I'm pretty shit with UEU names, but he's sitting 9. Matteo Pisani at 10. Kim Erickson 11. Santi Lorette 12. Sylvain Villette, aka Megadeth, sitting 13. Rune at 14. Stefano Fornosier 15. Diggy Dog Fufu at 16. Sake Lepo 17th. Oscar Pink at 18th. Guillermo Ordez 19. I've never seen that icon though. Eli Voltman 20. Calamide at 21. It's a newer driver. I don't recognize his name. Monolith at 22. Adder sitting 23. Luca Babetta 24. Petrol 25th. El Gurk at 26th. Knock at 27. Team 28. Palmatek 29th. And Rukon's at 30th. Although looking at these now, clearly we see Knock behind him, and he's registering a little bit higher on the app on the left there, so these times are not completely accurate, clearly. But regardless, it's all going to get shaken up here in the first minute of the race anyway. But again, congrats to Tomas for the pole. Not really much of a surprise here. Judging from his pre-quality times, he was clearly blistering speed. So we'll see if he can get out to a nice start, get ahead of the pack, and just kind of cruise away with it, since his pace is a little bit faster. Not by much, but a little bit faster than everyone else. It'll be interesting to see if Cade can keep up with him. And with that, we have 5 minutes until race start. So we'll take this moment to just go down the line here. Check out all the new liveries for this season. A lot of these guys put quite a bit of time into these. Do a nice job with it. And that concludes our tour of the EU top 1 split. We'll see if it's all familiar faces next week, or we have some guys from the second split that might have been right on the cusp coming up. Some of these guys going down. It's going to be interesting to follow. And we have about 1:30 until the lights go out and we're off. And a wild Wayne Kerr jumps in on the stream, 30 seconds. So now I'm going to jump back to my car and get ready to reset the pits as soon as the lights go out here, so that there isn't a rogue 911 sitting in the middle of the straight. Lights are up. And they're off. Off. And a slight misclick. Because I'm brilliant. And we'll be back in a moment. Alright. And we're back. So it looks like after our small break, not much has changed. I don't think there was too many incidents. Maybe it was something with Megadeth down 4 positions. He might have got bodied out, but clearly Tomas had a pretty good start, but Cade right behind him, staying very close.
Adder is at the back of the train.
Adder is at the back. You're right.
So something must have happened mid-pack because the train is now broken up.
Yeah, Adder, but he's not too far behind. Maybe just a slight off track. It doesn't look like he was spinning in the infield. He wouldn't be this close to the back, but definitely something. Maybe with Luca too, sitting at 28th. We see Pomatek way up, and he is right on. Right on. And we see our app here is doing some kind of crazy things on the left. I am clearly not in first position. But we'll just have to make do. I suspect it might be something to do with me leaving as soon as the race kicked off, but we do see Tomas down in the 3rd position, I believe it is. So I'm not entirely sure what happened here, but Cade got past him, as did, I think that's Rami. Yes, it is.
Both Cade and Rami got by Tomas.
Yeah. Both did, so maybe a slight error by Tomas, but we'll see now. This isn't going to be the easy race that he probably thought it might be. He's going to have to work a little bit for it, and we see that train of 5 cars at the very top. We see the Cynic in there. We see Albert bringing up the rear in 5th position. So this is going to be fun to watch and see how this works. We see Cade, he is absolutely getting a good run. Maybe a little help here from his teammate. I think him and Rami are on the same team. He might be backing him up a little bit, keeping Tomas at bay. Very close here. Tomas maybe opening that gap up a little bit here.
Also interesting to see the top 5-6 guys running on softs for the first stint.
Yeah, the only one outside of that is Rune, who, we thought was probably running on his race setup in quali, which I think is definitely the case. But everyone else going soft, so it'll be fun to see now when they're all going to pit. I don't know if they're going to make it the full 30. They might. But right now, Cade doing a nice job out in the front here. Tomas getting ready to put a move on, maybe. Pretty tiny exit. He's got, I think, a little bit of a run.
Cade just taking full advantage of the clear track ahead of him. 5/10 faster than anyone else, at least at the back behind him.
I think we have a 2 wide here. Oh, he held on. Rami giving Tomas a little bit of a squeeze there. Not giving him anything to work with. Some pretty intense racing there. But Tomas gonna have to back off and try again. And I mean, behind Tomas, you see the Cynic. He's still in striking distance here. Doing well to keep up. And Cade just opening that lead up. And unfortunately, all our live times are completely wrong. Again, I'm not sure if it's from me leaving and rejoining or what. But we'll do our best to try to keep up with this as we go here. Very close. The Cynic is just waiting for Tomas to make a little bit of a mistake, and he's going to be striking. Tomas giving Rami a little bit of a flash there. Maybe trying to force him into a little bit of a mistake. But Cade just really enjoying all the free space he's got ahead of him. And let's see, we might be able to tell if, yeah. So Cade is on the same team as Rami, as we see with their liveries. So Rami definitely doing everything he can to hold up Tomas a little bit here. And we'll check in here. We see Petrol up in the 12th position. So he's definitely done some work here in the early goings. I think he qualified pretty well into the 20s, if I'm not mistaken. Doing everything he can to track down Pisani in front of him. But I think the battle to watch right now, it has to be Tomas. Oh, and we check back in just in time. Oh, Rami with a very late breaking point. Manages to hold on. And I have to be honest, after about 12 minutes here, I kind of expected Cade to be pulling away a little bit more than he is. I mean, he definitely has what's a comfortable lead right now, but if Tomas makes it past Rami and he has all that space in front of him, I think he can catch up, and he probably will. But right now, that's his biggest chore, is just got to find a way past him. Definitely not enough of a run to do anything here. Tomas definitely though, hitting his limiter there. Getting a lot of speed through there. Now we're starting to see Cade really open up that lead. think it's safe to say there might have been a few mistakes in those laps there where it seemed like they were catching up, but he's starting to really open that up now. And we see, actually I think that's people crossing the line here. Petrol still trying to chase down Pisani. Pisani chasing down a very friendly opponent there that he knows pretty well, Diggy Dog Fufu. These guys were both in Pro-Am with each other last year. We saw them battling it out until the bitter end for that Drivers' Championship, so they're very familiar with one another. Ooh, Pisani maybe having a pretty good run here. Oh, could that be it? Both of them going on the turf. It's not quite as grippy there. I think he might have enough. Does he try a move into this? Yeah, wisely backs off. Probably a little unsure of where Diggy Dog was planning on braking there, and didn't want to crawl right up into his bumper. So backs off. Live to fight another day. But checking back with the battle of the day. We see somebody back there already getting blue flagged. It could have been some mistakes off track. We'll check back in a bit. We see Rune getting chased down by Kim Erickson here. Rune sitting right now, I believe, at his 8th position. He qualified, Wayne, correct me if I'm wrong, I think it was 12th. And Wayne brings up a good point. This is a soft versus medium battle here. As we see Rune again, one of the little bit of a minority in the field running mediums here. It seems like most are running softs. And he's just going to try to keep Erickson off him while he tries to reel in Roble. And Rami getting himself a little bit of breathing room here from Tomas. We see them again. They're starting to really reel in Cade now. His lead is diminishing every lap, it seems, fluctuating back and forth, and I suspect it's partially due to the fact that it looks like Rami and Tomas are not really battling now as much as they were a couple laps ago. It could be just a mutual thing between the drivers to try to catch up to P1, or Rami's just out driving him and Tomas just can't quite catch up, although here we see I don't think that's enough. Ooh. And again, that AstroTurf out there, very slippy. But this is your top 3 here. We're starting to see they're pulling away a bit from the Cynic. Ooh, both running wide. Is that enough? And just like that, Tomas is right back on him. Might have a little bit of a run. He's gonna try again for that outside line through here, and Rami once again is gonna give him the squeeze. Oh, can he make that stick? He can't. Very good defensive driving we're seeing here. Rami just not giving in. Giving absolutely no quarter to Tomas. Not letting him pass. Praying his teammates just can open up that gap a little bit. A little bit of contact, but again, I don't think Tomas. Oh boy.
Main straight will be the battle.
Yeah, this is Rami really did not want to give him any space to come back on there, and Tomas gave him a little bump and let him know. But here we go. Who's gonna outbreak who? I think Rami with that inside line. Oh man. Oh man. Tomas gets by. Car went a little unstable over those bumps and caught some of Rami, and now it looks like the Cynic behind him is gonna be able to get slipped by. And he did. And now we're gonna have to watch and see. While Tomas tries to reel in Cade, is the Cynic gonna be able to hold on here? Uh-oh. Is that gonna be enough? Oh, not for the Lambo. But we see Albert behind now. He's trying to get in on the action. And this is very good driving at the top of this split here. Oh, Rami, I think he has the run. He's got the inside line. That's where he wants to be. And yeah, he should make that stick.
So the start of the previous lap, the gap between Cade and Tomas was about 4 seconds. So we'll see what it is now.
If I'm saying this correctly, it's about 3.5. Roughly. So we'll see now. I think we can expect to see Tomas catch up with the way the Lambo is gonna eat those softs. And we're at under the 40-minute mark now, so it'll be interesting to see when these guys are gonna choose to pit stop, and if they're going to try to stretch it in 2 soft stints, or if someone's going to go in soon here for mediums and try to get away from the traffic. And we see behind there, what's going on with Cynic and Albert? Yep. On board with Albert. He's been sitting pretty comfortably in that 5th position. And the gap behind him is substantial, so we'll see if Albert's going to be able to get past here and try to track down Rami. But our race leader, Cade, benefiting the most from his teammate really holding up Tomas, who was our pole winner. But that gap is looking smaller and smaller as each lap goes by. But now that things seem to have opened up a little bit, let's check back in with the rest of the field. See Petrol, who started pretty far back there after some struggles in qualifying. It's impossible to tell how many spots he's up right now because of where our scoreboard's freaking out, but he's doing well for himself. See Knock chasing down Calamite. BMW is pretty nimble through there. But we see the back of the field very tight still. It's pretty close everywhere throughout. We see Adder, who had some struggles early on, and I don't think his race has gotten much easier. He still seems to be at the very back of the pack. As you see Cade and Tomas coming across the line here. That gap is now under 3 seconds. It was, I think, 4 a couple laps ago. So Tomas definitely reeling him in now. Pretty wide open track. Rami pretty far back from him, and Cynic and Albert, that's starting to open up a little bit, so the top 5 is starting to really even out a little bit now. We saw some very good battles early on in this race. See where Renz is. Renz, who qualified very high up, I think he was either 5th or 6th, maybe 7th. But towards the back of the pack now, Monolith seemed to have a pretty decent run in the beginning. Ren's getting really close. Might see a little bit of a difference in pace here. It's not much, as all these guys in this split can drive, but through certain sections you might see some things like that happen if these guys are pushing a little bit to try to gain lost ground.
So the gap's down to 2.4 between the leaders.
So I think it's got to come down to, because they're getting really close to, I would think, wanting to pit now. And let's take a look at lap times here. We see Tomas. Last lap we ran a 43.5, about a 100th off his best time. And we see Cade, his last was a 44 flat, so in that lap alone, Tomas made up half a second on him. And if I'm Cade, I might be feeling a little bit of the pressure now as that Audi just keeps getting a little bit bigger in the rearview mirror. And let's see, Rami, a 44.1 that past lap. So Tomas is definitely the only driver in the top 5 running 43s. So he definitely, he had to work for it, but he's reeling in that top spot now. We see some very close racing here. In the middle of the pack. With Megadeth, Calamide, and Knock. Oh. And we see Calamide. Maybe pushing that braking point a little far to try to get Knock off him, but that ended up coming back to bite him, and we see quite a few cars now going into the pits, but none of our race leaders. So we'll jump back towards the front and see. We can't be far out now. We're at about the halfway mark in the race. We have to assume at this point now that these guys are going to be going, they're going to be going softs for the second stint if they stretch these the full 30. And with the track ripped in, we can expect to see some much faster times. And let's see, does Cade go in here? He does. Tomas opts out of it, stays on the track. So that jumps him up in the first position now. And he comes out right in traffic from the drivers pitting on the last lap. They should get blue flagged and let him by. Tomas flashing his lights, letting him know. He knows it's pretty important to make up a lot of time on this lap with tires, because Cade's going to be coming out with fresh ones. I have to assume Tomas is going to pit at the end of this. So he's really going to try to close that gap here now. And now here we go. Tomas coming into the final section of the track. He's going to be coming out of the pits roughly around the same time Cade should be passing. Alright, let's hop on board with Cade. Boy, I thought he would have been a little bit closer. I'm not sure if something maybe happened during his pit stop, but let's see. It is a long pit lane. But we'll keep it on this camera following Tomas coming out, and we should see Cade coming down the straight around the same time. And here comes Tomas. And Cade nowhere in sight. That is very surprising. So Cade losing tons of time on his pit stop. Almost going from first to third, just barely sneaking out ahead of Rami. But that gives Tomas a pretty sizable gap that with his pace you have to assume he's just going to stretch, barring any mistakes on his part, which would be very uncharacteristic of him. So I'm not quite sure what happened to Cade there in the pits. we see Rami here with a Renz behind him. So I'm not sure. I suspect that Renz, it looks like if the tire chart on the left is correct, I don't believe he's pit yet. Maybe really stretching those mediums out. He's quickly catching up. He's got Rami ahead of him. Or is that might not be Rami. That's Tony. No, that is. So Renz is up in the 4th position. Don't believe he's pit yet. So we'll have to keep an eye on when he's gonna head in. And other notables, we see Rune, who appears to be way back. He's back there with Adder. He must have had something happen, because he wasn't quite that far back. Nowhere near there. Back with Tomas at the front of the pack. It's going to be his first flying lap after his pit change here. Let's see what kind of times he's putting down on fresh tires with track a little bit more gripped in than it was. . 43.3. We see Cade behind him putting down a 43.1. So actually Cade not going down without a fight. He's got a lot of room to make up for after his debacle in the pits. But he's capable of putting down some pretty quick times here. So we'll have to see if those softs are going to hold up and be consistently strong for the next 23 minutes of the race. And checking back in towards the back of the pack here, we see Knock. This battle's still very close. It's Megadeth, aka Sylvain Villette. Still trying to chase him down. He's carrying much more speed through there. Flashing the lights at him. Is he gonna try to do it? Nope. Wisely backs out. Oh, but here, maybe. Knock maybe missing that braking point a little bit. They're too wide now. Omega couldn't quite get the exit he wanted. That's a pretty tight battle. We'll have to keep an eye. Oh, can Mega do it here before we cut away? I think not. We'll check in with Pisani here. Fell back a ways from Diggy Dog Foo Foo there. His nemesis, you could say. Could have been around the pit stop window. Maybe trying to force him into a mistake there. Sake Levko not really buying it. Oh, Cade. Cade putting down a blistering 142.9. Is that faster than Tomas? No, Tomas with a 42.8. So Tomas's last 2 laps have both been sub 43. So he's making it pretty clear to Cade that he's gonna have to, he's really gonna have to drive hard to catch up with him. And we see Rune back here in the middle of Cade and Rami. We saw him towards the back with some of the other guys, so I'm not sure if that's a blue flag or not. But Cade, a lot of work to do. I'm not sure that the difference in pace is going to be enough. Even if he was a little bit faster, both of these guys are really squeaking every little inch of time that they can out of this track. And I'm not sure how much more there is to find between the two of them. And I certainly don't think it's going to be enough to close that gap between him and Tomas in 19 minutes, what's left in the race. Check in, Petrol. Behind Adder here. I'm sure he's a little disappointed in his debut with Nassau Racing, but from the looks of it, the entire team is having a bit of a rough one today. See Laszlo really putting the heat on Renz here. The AMG definitely has the straight line speed. And I think that's going to be enough to get by. He slots back in. Oh, Renz catching a little too much of that. Definitely a bit of a rough day for Nassau Racing. Ren's not giving up 2 positions. And 1 was enough. And we'll check back in towards the front. We see Albert found his way past the Cynic here. Albert did a nice job keeping himself just within striking distance, and it appears he finally found a way past. Cade's still trying to track down Tomas. But that gap is... Cade ran a 43.3 last lap. Tomas a 43.1. So just 1/10 of a second by 1/10 of a second it grows every lap. And I think barring any major mistakes from Tomas, this should be in the bag for him, as time is quickly running out for any chance of a comeback by Cade. Let's see, Rune just ahead of Rami here. Again, not sure if this is a blue flag situation or not here. I suspect it is. But Rune definitely has the speed that I don't think he's just gonna pull off to the side and let him pass. It'll be in an obvious place if that's the case. But Rami definitely is getting pretty close there. I gotta tell you, I don't know. I don't think this actually is a blue flag situation. Rune is actually up in 3rd position right now, according to the in-game leaderboard. Obviously, again, ours is all over the place. I'm not sure if it's from the ACRL or the Assetto Corsa update that recently came out, if that broke something, or if it's from my mistake in leaving at the start of the race and rejoining back in. But for all intents and purposes, this is for 3rd place with 13 minutes left. So Rune actually appears to be carrying the torch for Nassau Racing, if my assumption is correct. And judging by the way these two are going at it, I think it is, that this is, in fact, the 3rd place position that they're fighting for. So Rune on the medium tires. Maybe some trickery with one of the pit stops, going a little bit later, gaining a lot of time there. And just staying out of trouble and quietly plugging away, so... The in-game scoring says Rune in 3rd, Rami in 4th. So this should be a very fun battle to watch down the stretch here with 12 minutes remaining. while these two are not completely on top of each other, we'll check in with Tomas at the top. Best lap of 42.6. We see Cade behind him in second. Best lap of 42.9. His last was a 43.6. So that gap is all but unobtainable, I think, at this point. Tomas has built himself a pretty comfortable lead here. 8 seconds. 10 minutes left. As long as he doesn't make a mistake, it's I think it's safe to say that's in the bag for him. Defending that inside line. Oh no, Rune. The back end getting a little wild on him there. Gave Rami a chance to catch up. I think he had to actually hit the brakes and avoid running right into him. Oh, and there's contact. Rune runs wide but holds on. A little bit of a bold move there. Rami trying to sneak it side by side through in that braking point, but fair play to both, holding it together. It could have been disastrous with 9 minutes left if third and fourth go spinning into the infield. So, although I'm sure Albert behind them is waiting, patiently waiting for something to happen there. Give him that podium position. So we'll see how hard Rami's going to push it now with less than 9 minutes left in the race. Definitely has a little bit of ground to make up for now after that contact there. And Rune just has to be, he's got to be pressing hard now, try to keep that gap as big as it is. Let's see if we can get a updated leaderboard here, since ours is not in good shape right now. But I'm not sure that any are going to be working properly. It doesn't appear like they are, but there's 7 minutes left. We kind of know where things stand. We have Tomas in first. Cruising all alone. Cade pretty far back here. Again, just kind of at this point coasting into a second place position. But the real battle to watch is going to be these two, Rune and Rami. This is for third position with 6 minutes left. And behind them, we see fifth and sixth. It's very close. The Cynic caught back up to Albert. I'll do my best to try to keep an eye on both of these as they're significant points on the line early in the first race of the season, so and you can see there's definitely some pushing going on here by Rune. Much better exit. 5 minutes left, just have to hang on a little bit. You see Albert making some room there from the Cynic. So with 4 minutes left, it should be roughly 2, maybe 3 laps remaining, depending on when Tomas comes across the line for these guys. So there's definitely still time for Rami to put a move, but it's going to definitely involve some pushing and some late heroics that could be disastrous for the two of them that we've already seen. We saw him try. So if I'm Rami, I might be seeing what I can kind of get. Maybe Rune will make a mistake and a window's going to open, but otherwise, I might be more focused on who's in my rear view and just kind of keeping him at bay. Retaining 4th position, getting the points, and you live to fight another day. Rami definitely able to break a little bit later than the Porsche there. Coming up on a back marker here. It shouldn't be anything interesting. Yes, he's getting out of the way. Wisely letting these guys finish this battle out. Thanks to whoever that was the decent thing to do, rather than try to make a difficult pass for these guys in one of these corners when they're in the midst of a heated battle down the stretch. So 2:20 left in the race. Let's see where Tomas is. He's already past the line. So there will be 2 more laps for those guys. Tomas just crossed. He'll cross again before the race is over, so there's plenty of driving still left for these two. once again defending that inside. Knows if you gave it to him, Rami's going to take that. With him braking later in that R8, he might be able to make that stick. So a wise decision there. And just got to hang on for another lap after this one. Now checking in with Tomas. Crossing the line with what's going to be about 23 seconds left. So this is his final lap. And what that means is that Rune and Rami, they have one more after this. Let's see if Rami's going to try to do something a little bit crazy here in the turn one, try to make up some ground. Presume Rune, yep, defending the inside line once again, not giving him any quarter. Rami taking the good exit, trying to get as much speed as he can. Goes for the outside. Can't quite get it. Yeah, it doesn't force the issue again there. And this is very close. Is Rami gonna try? No, he's too far back. He's not gonna be able to make a pass through here. Maybe if he can get a good run, he might have a chance. On the AstroTurf. And that appears... It seemed to put me somewhere else. But we will be able to watch this final battle from here. As you see, Rune hanging on to third place. Rami fourth. Albert fifth. And the Cynic in sixth. What a battle it was with this top six guys. Very close the entire way. But congrats to Tomas on a good win. Taking advantage of maybe some troubles, and we see Tomas doing donuts here. Obviously happy to start the season off the way he did. But congrats to him. In the final standings we see here, Tomas in first. Cade took second. Rune third. Rami fourth. Albert fifth. The Cynic sixth. Tommy 7th, Petrol 8th, Diggy Dog Fufu 9th, Kim Erickson 10th, Sake Lepo 11th, Oscar Pink 12th, Robo in 13th, Guillermo 14th, Pisani 15th, Renz down in the 16th, Nonk 17, Calamide 18, El Gurk 19, Luca 20, Stefano 21, Santi 22nd, Monolith 23rd, Sylvain Villette, aka Megadeth 24th. In 25th we see Theme, 26th Adder, and last but not least, Pomatek. Good race, guys. It was fun to watch. Sorry again for the technical issues with our leaderboard. I suspect it was from me accidentally leaving the race in the beginning and having to rejoin, and that just screwed everything up. But thanks for watching, guys. We'll be back with GTE next weekend, our multi-class endurance series. And then the following weekend, we're back with GT3, and that's at the Red Bull Ring. Take care.